Hello, welcome to my official YouTube podcast, Gaurav here. We'll do the review for the fourth T20 International. Unfortunately, Michael Wagner wasn't there on the third T20 because of some of the busy schedule, but once again, he's back to do the review for the fourth T20 International. So, Michael, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah, thank you. Tell me one thing. So, I think in New Zealand team are also trying to trying different kind of a combination with the team settlement, trying a couple of changes also. And the team is also trying different combination by seeing the T20 World Cup is very near in the February itself. So, if you look at the combination, I think after this T20 international, Jimmy Neesham will be also be playing for the fifth T20, and Finn Allen will also be back, right?
Yeah, so that's we're expecting that we'll have Finn Allen, Lockie Ferguson, and Jimmy Neesham in for the next match, who are all going to be in the World Cup squad. So that makes a big difference in that side. The particularly the middle overs enforcer role from Ferguson. Like, folks did a good job at that role tonight, actually, but he's not at the World Cup, and Ferguson is, I mean, he's a wonderful bowler. He's had a bit of injury issues, so we'll see how he comes through that. But if he does, I mean, if he's back to fit, then he's a real addition to that side. The ability to bowl those tight overs in the middle when and unsettle batsmen who are set is something that will really add something to the New Zealand side. And we saw folks do it a little bit today. Folks did it with a big mix of slow balls and his cutters. I hadn't seen him bowl cutters quite like that before, as grip like that. What he did today. And that was really good to see. He's certainly becoming a better bowler by spending time in the Black Caps environment. But I think Ferguson will really make a difference when he's back. And Jimmy Neesham's an interesting one as to how he fits into the side. You look at Daryl Mitchell as the guy that would probably give way for him, and I'm not sure that that Mitchell certainly said today, "Hey, don't forget about me. I can still hit." So it'll be interesting to see what they do with selection on in the Neesham front.
Yeah, you did mention about the Daryl Mitchell. Earlier, New Zealand had the issue that who will play the longer kind of an inning and who will play cameo kind of an inning, and it did happen in today's T20 international, right? I think Tim Seifert played a blinder kind of inning opening at the opening slot, and Daryl Mitchell played a cameo kind of inning. So this kind of inning was missing from last T20 international.
Yeah, sure. But it also, what you see is the variability in T20. Like, second ball, Seifert got an outside edge that just avoided the fielder and went away for 4. He could have been out 0 off 2, but instead he got 60 odd and put the score, set up a platform for New Zealand to get a winning score. If New Zealand was 0 off 2, that might have been a very different outcome to that game. If New Zealand were 1 for 1 after 3 balls, instead of that game could have been completely differently. There's an awful lot. Like, India are a very, very good side, but this is perhaps a little bit of a wake-up call for India's fans, that just because India are the best side in the world, and I think they are, doesn't mean you can say they'll walk into winning the World Cup. There's a lot of variability, and you see, Seifert today, he got lucky early, and then he cashed in. And when you have something go your way, you make it your day, and Seifert did that. That's the hallmark of a great player. That when it's your day, they really make it their day. Now, it'd be nice to see him go a little bit more, a little bit bigger, but he has been on a real good run of form for New Zealand. He's an easy guy to forget about because he didn't start off. He was a bit of a disappointment when he started out for New Zealand. We're expecting bigger things of him. But in the last 2 years or so, he's been outstanding.
So, okay, talking about Team Safford also, and you did mention this is a wake-up call for Team India, right? Because if you look at the Team India's batting lineup, they are heavily rely on the top order batsmen to click, and today was today was the day where top order did fail, and it was a wake-up call because if you look at the lower down the order, there was not much batting left because they were playing one batsman shot also. And apart from Shivam Dubey, who did smack a quite big sixes today, none of the batsmen contributed.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when you're playing Hardik Pandya as a batsman, he's hit and miss, and same with Rana. We said it. I said it in the one day game. He's going to give you rocks and diamonds, and tonight was a rocks night. He he didn't have a good night with the ball. Went for 50. I think did he drop a catch and went for and got 9 off 13 or something. You really need that extra batsman in the side. And I think playing Hardik Pandya as a specialist batsman creates again it's variability. He's another player that can win you a game, but he's going to play some duds in between. And how many of those players do you run with versus how many of guys that are more likely to be a little bit more consistent? And that's the tricky thing about being a selector, because if you play too many guys that are consistent, you don't have anyone that's going to win you a game. So you have to find that balance. But I mean, Dubé was outstanding today, absolutely outstanding. And it's so strong. Like there was a couple of deliveries that Sodhi bowled to him. Sodhi beat him through the air. He beat him off the pitch, and he hit it on the outside middle of the bat and carried for 6.
He's a long lever.
I mean, just
He's a
outstanding.
long lever. He obviously reached out on this kind of deliveries and still smack you out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I felt for Sodhi because a couple of those balls, he didn't do anything wrong at all. He defeated the batsman in the air. He got him to hit it, too low on the bat or too wide, and he still went for 6 or still went for 4. It's just like, he's like, well, I'm trying to get him to hit it to that fielder there, and it just goes straight over the head of that fielder with a miss hit. Just beautiful, beautiful batting, and the way he got out was probably the only way they were going to get him.
Yeah, at one point of time, he was given out plumb, and he didn't realize that he has smashed it, and he taken the review, and where he realized after that that he obviously smashed it, and turned out the review in favor of him. But as you rightly mentioned, it was only that run out way that New Zealand bowlers would have get him out.
Yeah, look, it was just, I mean, outstanding, outstanding batting from him. And if there'd been a few more runs scored up front, he maybe would have, maybe that would have been enough for the team. But he just didn't have. He ran out of partners. He didn't have anyone to bat with. But yeah, boy, he looked good today. And I mean, that's the way that this Indian team plays, is that they back their players. I don't really rate Ganguly as a coach, but I've got to say that he it feels like he's doing the right thing with
Gautam
the
Gambhir. Gautam Gambhir, Mike.
Gautam Gambhir. Yeah, Gautam Gambhir. Sorry, he's doing the right thing with this T20 side in terms of they're playing that high risk, high reward cricket, but they've got enough guys that can do it well enough that this sort of result is a freak rather than this is
He
an
he has
unusual.
cracked the T20 format. Gautam Gambhir did manage to crack the T20 format, because if you look at his track record in the T20 format, India hardly loses a series in the T20 format once he has become the coach.
Yeah, I mean, look, India has been a very good T20 side before, but they are doing it in a fashion that a lot of the analysts for the last 7 or 8 years have been saying this is how you should be playing, but it goes against the way that it goes against the way that people have grown up playing cricket. And so the guys that have been playing it for a long time go, well, I'm not sure we could do that. But, you know, he's actually doing it. They're actually playing it. I just looked up. India have got 53 wins and 11 losses in the last 3 years. I mean, that's an extraordinary record, especially when you've got so much variability in a T20 match. You know, it's not unusual in in the likes of the IPL or the Big Bash or the Super Smash that the difference between being the third place team and the sixth place team is one win. You know, like there's so much variability in the games that to be winning almost 5 times as much as you're losing, that's extraordinary.
You're talking about this is how you should be playing the T20 format, and people have been saying this for over 7 to 8 years to the Indian batsmen. I think the change obviously have been made because some of the players who have been added after the senior player depart from the T20 international format, likes of Abhishek Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandyas, and Shivam Dubey. You can see. Earlier it used to be once if you have a good day and that did manage to score 160 165 on a good day, but as you can say, and on a bad day, this batting lineup can flick to 170 to 180 runs.
Yeah, look, it's well, I mean, more than 170, 180. I mean, 200 is now what you need. You need to score. You can't just score 200 against India. You have to score 210. You can't. If you're only leaving them 10 and over, you'd expect them to get it most of the time. You've got to score 10 and a half, 11 and over, just to be able to put any sort of scoreboard pressure on. Or do what New Zealand did today, pick up early wickets and then get the squeeze on. Jacob Duffy picked up an early wicket again, like he does almost every match. Matt Henry picked up an early wicket again, like he does almost every match. Having found Jacob Duffy, he comes from a part of New Zealand that's not particularly fashionable, Southland, right at the bottom. There's nothing between it and Antarctica, so you get even in the middle of summer, if you get a southerly wind, it's bitterly cold. It's not a great place for playing cricket. He's come out of there, and it's taken a while for him to develop into a great player, but he really has developed into a great player. So it's going to be interesting to see how this New Zealand's like, because New Zealand is built a bit differently to what India is in terms of the makeup of the team, but there's an awful lot of batting in this New Zealand side. Like if you look at the lineup today, you've got Zach Folkes batting at, what was he batting at, number 8? Zach Folkes at number 8, and that's a guy that could quite comfortably bat at number 6 in a lot of teams. So you've got batting almost all the way down. This is you've only got 3 guys who are bowlers in the side, and then with Seifert as the keeper, you've got 8 genuine batting options. Now that it's not, none of them are quite as exciting as the Indian team, with perhaps the exception of Finn Allen, but they can have the confidence to go because they know there's still guys coming in behind them. When you've got Daryl Mitchell at number 6, you know that if you have a bad start, he can still hold things together. So you don't have that sort of pressure of having to worry about losing wickets so much early on. And I think that's the way that the new coach, Rob Walters, is going to go. They're actually allowing the players a bit of freedom to play their shots, because there's backup behind them. And I mean, that's the way that India's been playing, but India's just been trusting the guys to get it done. And it didn't work so well today. But when you can do that, it means that you can play extra bowlers. And, that's generally worked out pretty well for India in these recent matches.
Talking about the bowlers, Mitchell Satna has finally found a great rhythm in today's T20 match. I think he was off color on the last T20 match which has been played, but once again he showed his class. and I was looking at his economy rate. He has played over 100 T20 match, but still economy is below 8. So it is quite remarkable.
Yeah, look, I mean, when he gets into his rhythm and he's not too worried about captaincy, he's a remarkable bowler. He really um, his ability to hold the batsman down and to have them looking for four but only getting one. That's his real strength. They think they're going to get four, but because he just does it, he bounces a little bit more, or swings a little bit more in, or it doesn't swing in through the air as much as I think. All those little subtle variations that mean instead of hitting the middle of the bat, it's the outside middle, or it hits a little bit low or a little bit high. And instead of hitting the ball into the gap, they hit the ball to the fielder. It's all of those little skills that make Santner so good to watch. If you know what you're watching, because a lot of when we think of spin bowling, we think of it from when we're playing as kids, where the best spinners were the guys that turned the ball the most. They bowled slow through the air and they really ripped it off the pitch. And at international level, you can't do that, because if you bowl slow enough to do that without doing something through the air, the batsman will just take 2 steps down the pitch and hit you over your head for 6 before it bounces, or just you just can't bowl like you bowl at a lower level against international class batsmen, because they'll just smash you for 6 every ball. What you have to do against quality international batsmen is you've got to beat them in the air rather than off the pitch. You've got to swing. You've got to drift the ball, or unpredictably either do more than they're expecting or less than they're expecting. You've got to have it dip or not dip. You've got to be varying those things. So varying the amount of overspin and underspin, the amount of side spin, the amount of the wrist position, or your finger position if you're an off spinner. How you're doing, what you're doing through the air makes a much bigger difference than what you do off the pitch. And we often watch the spinners go, oh, they're not turning it much. I think that somehow is a criticism of them. It's like, if you understand that these guys are getting top quality batsmen tied down without turning it much, it tells you that it's not about how much it's turning. It's about what they're doing before it bounces. And if you ever get the opportunity to go to a ground on the day before a match and watch the teams practice and stand behind the nets when one of the spinners is bowling, and see if you can figure out where the ball's going to land. And if you're watching a top spinner, you will have absolutely no idea as the ball's coming through the air where it's going to land. You can't. It just does so much through the air. It wobbles around and it dips in, or it goes straight when you think it's going to dip, or all of that stuff. That's where a great spinner, particularly in T20, great finger spinner, comes into their own. And Santner is the master of those skills. Doesn't play so well on TV, maybe, if you don't know what you're watching for. But if you know what you're looking for, he's extraordinary.
As you mentioned it, he's not a big turn-on of the ball, doesn't give you a flighted kind of a delivery, but still manage to hold this accuracy, will bowl line to line, and will not give you much as a batsman.
Yeah, or he does turn the odd ball big. I mean, that's the other thing. He can rip them big, and about once every 2 overs he'll do that. And it just keeps the players honest. I remember watching Dan Vittori, who was another guy very similar, left arm spinner from Hamilton, tall, did a lot in the air. And he was bowling a delivery and it spun miles past in the early days when he used to be a big turner of the ball. Adam Prory was keeping, and he took the ball and he threw it back and said, that's enough of a TV delivery, now get him out. Because the big spinners are good for TV, but they don't actually get your wickets. So now that's enough of that. You've shown off. Now get them out. And that was the thing. Yeah, you just turn it enough to reach the outside edge. Don't do these big ripping deliveries that don't achieve anything. And it was a really interesting call. It was a wicketkeeper telling off a spinner for spinning the ball. But the idea of it was that actually, going past the edge is all good in a test match, but what you want to do is actually hit the edge. And let's go back to the subtlety and get the wickets. A very different way of thinking about it to what perhaps us fans think, where we just think, oh, let's rip the ball past the edge. It's like, I mean, if you can go past the edge regularly, that's great. But Shane Warne isn't playing T20 cricket anymore, and there's not many other guys that could go past the edge regularly of top quality batsmen.
So final question. I want to ask the final question about the Sanju Samson form, because that's a that's a big question. People have been asking for a long period of time. What has happened with the Sanju Samson? He was out. He wasn't playing in the team India. He was benched more often than not. Once Shubman Gill was there, and suddenly Shubman Gill has been out of this team, and he has been playing as a top order batsman, and suddenly he's not been contributing a lot of runs. Ishan Kishan is also there, who has been contributing a lot of runs. Is it about the mindset? Is he about? Is he afraid of losing his place? What's going wrong with Sanju Samson?
I don't think he's afraid of losing his place. I mean, he's not holding back. I mean, it's like when you see someone who's afraid of losing their place, they're just trying to push it around and hit singles to make sure they put the numbers on the board. I don't get the feeling that's what Sanju Samson's doing. I think he's just getting out of it a bit too often. You've got to say what are the deliveries that keep getting him out? Is it is there a pattern to it? That's when as an analyst, what I'd be looking at is I'd be saying how is he getting out? Is it the same way every time, or is it just is it just nothing? I mean, the first match he got a ball that he should have hit for six. He tried to hit it for six, but didn't hit it hard enough and got caught. The second match, what happened there? Matt Henry got him early on with the wobble seam. Again, trying to score off it. It's not like he was pushing it for one, and just didn't get on. Didn't get to the right line. Matt Henry cleaned him up in the first ball in the next match, and again, that can happen to anyone. So you look at it and you say, is there a pattern there? And I mean, the pattern perhaps is maybe he's trying a little bit too hard at some of them. Today was really interesting in terms of, he was beaten through the air, realized tried to adjust his shot, but didn't pull it off. Now, yes, that was a bad shot, but it was a bad shot because he thought it was going down leg, suddenly found that it wasn't, had to try and adjust, and got himself into a big tangle. It was what happened in the air that led to that wicket, not what it did off the pitch. I mean, look, it spun past the edge of the bat, but it did that because he had put himself in the wrong position, and then looked like a fool. He'll be very disappointed with that, but I didn't think he was batting that badly before that. I mean, 24 off 15 is 10 and over. That's not like he was just pushing it around. He was doing what he was supposed to do. He just got a ball that beat him. So the question for the selectors is, do you look at him and say, well, yeah, he's scoring at a strike rate of 150 over the last couple of years. That's good, but he's just getting out too often. And do we pick someone else? Or do you say, well, he's worth persisting with because when he has a really good day, he can win you the match. But you can't go in with him when you've only got four batsmen. You need to actually have some other guys, a longer batting lineup if you're going to play guys that are rocks and diamonds like him.
Yep. As you said, that he's not been afraid to lose his place. If he would have been, then he would have been scoring a run a ball. So he has been on a pressure for a long period of time. I think both T20 match, and he hasn't contributed a lot of runs. So there, people have been asking a lot of questions with him because Ishan Kishan is also there, and he didn't play today's match because of his niggles. So there will be a lot of questions which gonna be asked with Sanju Samson in future. Let's see what happens. Till then, Michael, thank you for joining us for a quick review. Till then, guys, do like it, do subscribe it, and hit the bell icon. Thank you, Michael, for coming.
Brilliant. Catch you later.